Hey guys, and welcome to Game Jammin's Theory Testing. Today we are going to take a look at new Symmetra on the PTR. Literally, the changes that have been done to her are pretty darn incredible. She has some of the same abilities, but they actually act in different ways. She has a crazy shield, so there's a whole bunch of stuff to take a look at. But considering how new this change is, this change literally just occurred for me on today. What we're going to do is stick to understanding how the new basic abilities work. And as you guys come up with questions, make sure to leave them in the comments below, and we will handle those questions in a part 2 video. So let's get started with her primary fire. Test number 1. How has Photon Projector changed? So let's take a look at the patch notes. We can see now that the Photon Projector no longer locks onto targets. The range has been increased to 10 meters. The damage ramping takes a little bit slower. It takes 2 seconds instead of 1 second for each ramp. And so the new damage totals is 60, 120, and 180. And the craziest ability of all, Symmetra generates ammo while hitting a barrier. So honestly, the new gun feels better than the old one because it rewards good aiming. It does have a slow ramp up, but it does feel incredibly strong. Zarya still outranges her by about 5 meters, but once she gets into range, she is a wrecking house. And let's not mention the fact that working against shields is a great thing because you don't have to worry about reloading. You just hold the button, build up your charge for free, and once that shield finally melts, Reinhardt is yours for the picking. You deal so much damage, you will wreck him quite quickly. If we were to compare the old gun versus the new gun definitely feels stronger, and it's really nice because you can switch between targets very easily. Test number 2. How has the alternate fire changed? There's actually a pretty significant change with Symmetra's alternate fire. Basically, it now has explosive damage. You can see here on the right that I'm able to damage 2 bots at the same time. The damage is still the same, though the balls do seem to go faster, which is really cool. You can see the notes here down below. One of the most important things to realize is that the orbs no longer penetrate shields. But it does feel pretty good to shoot because you can actually use it kind of like a slow Zenyatta orb. I mean, it's still slow, but it's significantly faster than it was before. Test number 3. How awesome are the new sentry turrets? Okay, it was fun to use 6 turrets to make a car wash. It's really cool and all, but the new turrets are a blast. The turrets can be fired out and they kind of just go out in a straight line until they hit a wall. And once they're there, they start dealing their damage. The turrets have been reduced down to 3 instead of 6, but because they've been made stronger, they still feel just as good. What's important to note is they are a projectile when they get fired out, so they can be shot down before they get to position. However, once they do get into position, they do feel significant and strong. So they are a lot of fun to use, and I can imagine there are going to be plenty of very cool strategies utilizing the turrets to deal almost as a mini flanker. Test number 4. Is the teleporter really strong now? So the big difference between the teleporters, the old one was actually an ultimate ability, while now the teleporter is just a regular ability. The teleporter has been upgraded where it has a short range because you can only project it forward about 25 meters. However, you can go back and forth between the portals much as you please. So what ends up happening is you get to point where you put the exit of the terminal, and the entrance will automatically pop up in front of you. You have about a delay of about 2 seconds before you can use it and before you can use it again. And you do not automatically go through teleporters anymore. You actually have to push F when you're next to it, and that's just important to note so that you don't accidentally walk through it and your teammates don't accidentally walk through it. But once you have it up, you can have your teammates start going through it and you can do all sorts of crazy things. So here's the first one. We're just going to put the teleporter down and see if we can move the turret through the... Oh my gosh, you can move the turret through the teleporter. That is pretty good. What's important to note is Torbjorn does not have to push a button. He just has to put it in the right location. As long as the teleporter is there, it will go through once. However, I will note that the teleporter is a little bit buggy, so if it disappears on you, we're seeing that happen on PTR right now. I'm sure it'll get fixed. You can see Bastion, while in turret form, can go through the teleporter. On top of this, of course, you can send a Diva Bomb through the teleporter, because why not? The one thing to note about the teleporter is a little bit different. Instead of it being a flat thing, you'll notice that it always faces you no matter what direction you go. You look at it. So therefore, whatever direction you are pointing when you go in through it is the direction you will come out of it. So in this example here, you can have it kind of go at a diagonal, but as long as I'm facing straight, the Diva Bomb will go straight through it. Just take a look right here. There you go. And I was able to get on the point. So there are going to be lots of cool strategies with this, and we didn't even exhaust all the different abilities that can go through this, through the teleporter. Last but not least, test number 5. How good is the Photon Barrier? So the Photon Barrier is a shield that you can place very similar to a Mei Ice Wall. However, the shield goes all the way across the map. And I mean all the way across. You can do it from wherever and it will go through anything, and it's pretty darn impressive. So the barrier lasts 15 seconds and has 5,000 health, which is enough to stop an entire Roadhog ult. So it's pretty darn cool. You could definitely break it if you really tried, but I wouldn't expect it to break. What's important again when you're placing it, you do need to place it down on the ground. So again, there are a few bugs where I've actually placed my ult and the ult has just disappeared. I imagine that will get fixed before it goes to live, hopefully. The other thing to note too is that you saw it before, but you can change it from horizontal to a vertical vertical orientation, but having it go straight forward, very similar to a Mei Ice Wall. And I think that's probably going to be the best way to use it. I mean, there are scenarios where you're like, okay, I'm going to go protect my teammates, and there's a very obvious spot here, like, oh, look, I can protect those guys, right? But I think the better way is going to be putting it in a forward position and bouncing around between it yourself while you are using it to approach the point. So that's kind of it for all my testing. I know there's going to be a bunch of questions, but one, I want to give the PTR a little bit of time to get updates through it. And then once those updates go through, maybe in a week or so, any of the questions that you guys have, I will do my best to answer. If we need to go into in-depth testing, we can absolutely do that. I think the teleporter is going to deserve that sort of testing. And we can do whatever other testing you want. Let us know in the comments below, and I will do my best to answer your questions. I want to give a special shout out to Tankload, who is the person that was helping me today. And you probably heard his voice a few times throughout the video. And I hope to see you guys all in the next video. See ya.